What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Well, now that LeBron James has failed yet again in the postseason, especially for the Lakers, it's interesting that so many people, so many LeBron fans, love to bring up Michael Jordan's 2-year stint with the Wizards, right? And they say that counts. That hurts Jordan's legacy. But yet, they love to say, oh, well, yeah, this LeBron era doesn't really affect his legacy. This is what, his 7th season he just completed with the Lakers? And in those 7 years, you got one bubble title, which nobody respects, and one conference finals under the great Darvin Ham, which y'all refuse to give him credit for. And everything else has been a failure. Either missed playoff seasons, first round humiliating defeats like this one, which they were favored against the Timberwolves, getting owned. LeBron was owned by Kawhi Leonard for many years. Now he's owned by Nikola Jokic. You know, the great Michael Jordan wasn't owned by any great player in his prime or even anything near his prime. But one thing that we know that Lemedia will always do is they will always find a scapegoat to take LeBron James off the hook. And that player, this time a truly great player that they're scapegoating, is none other than Luka Doncic. Now all of a sudden, a great player is being held accountable. As you guess, they should be, right? Luka is the best player on the team, so technically, they're right. He should be held accountable. But so should LeBron James. But he will never be held accountable because he's not a leader. And he's a role player, as the true 683 and the brother James have said before. He's a role player and he's not a leader. Matter of fact, the truth was saying that before James, that he was a role player. He's been saying that for over a decade. He's been 100% correct on it when you look back at it. Now they're talking about Luka being out of shape. Now they're talking about him needing to work harder to make sure that he physically can handle the rigors of the NBA season. Now they're talking about he needs to work on his defense. Now they're criticizing his defensive liability, him being a defensive liability. When we were talking about this last year, and people said we was hating on Luka. We were talking about these problems last year when the Boston Celtics, as they should have, exploited those weaknesses. And we talked about how the Timberwolves should have exploited that weakness in that series, but they didn't. It's funny that the Timberwolves coach didn't do such a great job last year, but he did a fine job out-coaching the so-called Brainiac and JJ Redneck. We told y'all when this trade went down that although Luka Doncic is a great basketball player, and AD, while a very, very good and at times great player, yes, he has issues with injuries. Yes, he has issues with inconsistency in his play. But Luka, as great as he is offensively, is a liability to the extreme on defense. And now the very thing that they claim that they need help on was the thing that AD was helping you with. Crazy. But, you know, they did it with Russ. You know. They said that Russ was the problem, right? Russ is the reason why this team isn't winning. Russ, you just can't win with him. Russ is a loser, and you know, Russ is a team cancer, and all these different things. The energy vampire in the locker room, all this made up nonsense that had no actual real truth. Well, I tell you one thing, I can never recall and don't recall Russ ever publicly dissing his teammates on the Pat McAfee show or in interviews or throwing them on the bus in post-game pressers or in interviews with media. I know somebody who has done that, and it's a guy who, according to reports, refuses to take a pay cut. He will not take a pay cut this offseason, but yet at the same time, he'll talk about how the Lakers need help because it gives him a built-in excuse to lose. It's sad, man. Now they're doing it to Luka. Now they're doing it to Luka. And you had JJ Redneck take a shot at Luka. Talk about how some guys are in tremendous shape and some guys aren't in such great shape. Yeah, you know what, man? If I'm Luka, I'm out of there, man. I'm not, you know what? Fuck the Lakers. I'm gone. I wouldn't stay. I'm on the first thing to another team. And let LeBron and them figure it out next year. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's just pathetic, man. It's pathetic. I've never seen such a weaselly, horrible, narcissistic piece of shit person like LeBron James. And it just amazes me how there's still a good percentage of people who don't see it or they just don't care because maybe they're just like him. I mean, literally, the Lakers are led with LeBron James and JJ Redick with the most unlikable people that you will ever find. One of them is an insufferable know-it-all asshole. The other one is an insufferable narcissistic asshole who pretends to be a black activist but is the biggest buck dancing, banjo playing, Bojangles shuffling, Uncle Ruckus ass mother effer you'll ever find. Ever. And you notice something too. You'll notice that I guarantee you, LeBron James is never going to publicly criticize, even obliquely, Luka, because he only got energy for black folks. So he'll step to a Stephen A. Smith, but he's not going to step to a Skip Bayless. And Skip's been his biggest critic in history. He won't do it because he's a program jig. He's a program jig. He got the jig germ. And but he'll have JJ Redick slyly criticize Luka, you know. But you know, it is what it is, man. Laker fans, I hope that this guy retires on the right hand side. I hope he retires and Luka stays and Luka push JJ and Clutch out of the door completely. But you know, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but it's pathetic, man. And you know, I don't know what's going on with Jenny Buss, man. Like, that's why I've always said I don't think she's a great owner. You know, everybody gives her a pass because, I mean, whatever. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. But yeah, man, we've seen this before. We've seen this before where the Lemedia will all of a sudden present a narrative where somebody else is supposed to be the fault as to why a season didn't go the way it's supposed to. And last I checked, Luka probably averaged what, 27, 28 points per game in the postseason. But it's supposed to be his fault. Things didn't go well. Anyway, that's all I got to say. What you guys think?